Welcome back. Certainly glad you could join us today. I thought today maybe we'd just do a fantastic little winter scene. So let's start out and have them run all the colors across the screen that you need to paint along with us. While they're doing that, let me show you what I got going up here today. I have my standard old 18 by 24 inch canvas, but you use whatever size is convenient. And today I've put a piece of contact paper on here and just cut a little oval out of it. And I thought we'd just do a little winter scene and see what happens. We've covered the inside of this with liquid white and it's all wet and ready to go, so let's just have a good time. Sometimes when you're doing winter scenes, they can get so cold they're almost distasteful. I mean, you have to put on a coat just to look at them. I thought today we'd do one that's very warm and very pleasant, and it makes you feel good. So let's start out and use some warm colors in this. I'm going to start with a little bit of the Indian yellow. Just a little on the 2-inch brush. Don't need much. Just a little. Okay, let's go right up in here. Maybe we'll have a little bright spot in our world. There it is, right about there, wherever you want it. Something like so. There. And we just sort of let it go out, about like that. While I have that color on the brush, maybe we'll have a little water. Let's just pull that straight down right there, or straight up, whichever, it doesn't matter. Now then, we'll take a little cad yellow and a little bit of the bright red and just mix them together. And you could mix these on the brush or you could pre-mix them. Either way, I'll just do it on the brush. It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I want to make a nice orangey color here. About like that. All right. Now then with that, we'll just lay in a little of that right around that first color of yellow that we laid in. There. Look at there, if you put 2 eyes and a big smile on there, you'd have a little orphan Annie. All right, a little bit more of the red there, and we'll just put that right in. Now, while we have that orangey color going, I'm going to add just a little of that right around the yellow that's down here. This is going to be water eventually, so we're just putting some color here. Something like so. Now then, let me grab another brush. I have several of each going here. Let's take a little touch of the Prussian blue. You need very little. It's so strong. A little Prussian blue, a little black, and just mix them together on the brush. Blue and black, or black and blue, whichever. Okay, and then right up here, I'm going to add just a little bit of that. Now we don't want to have to get into that yellowish color because, as you know probably, it will turn green on us, and we're not looking for green in that. All right, let's wash an old brush. That's the most fun part of the whole technique, is just washing the brushes. Shake off the excess and just beat the devil out of it. Now, very lightly, let's begin blending this out. Start in the light area and work outward. Always working outward. You don't want to take the dark color back into the center. There we go. Just blend it on out. There. Okay. Now then, to really sparkle that, watch here. Let me wash the brush one more time. I want to start with a nice clean brush. And it's a way of getting even my camera crew for picking on me too. I'm going to take a little bit of the titanium white on the 2-inch brush, just plain titanium white. Just load a little on there. And let's just go in here and dance in a little bit of this white color. Just sort of dance it in. I'm going to let it swirl and have fun and wherever it wants to go. But start in the lightest area and work outward. Want it to get darker as it goes away from this light area. There. Then very lightly, we can blend that together. Okay. And you can do that several times to make it as bright as you want it. It's up to you. You have to make that decision how bright you want it. You can make it very bright or leave it quite dark. Doesn't matter. Depends on the mood that you're trying to convey in your painting. Now then, while we got that white on there, right below here, I'm going to put a little white right into what's going to be the water. Just like that. And then very gently, we can begin going across. The color will remain in there, but that sort of blends it all together. Okay, good. And one more time we'll wash the old brush. Just wash it. Shake it off. and we're in business again. Now then, I tell you what, let's use the, we'll use a 1-inch brush today. I'm going to take white, be right back, don't go away, grab some of the bright red. I want to make a nice pink color. That's pretty. Now then, with that loaded on the 1-inch brush, let's go up in here. We need something to bring these two colors together because once again, we can't mix them or we'll end up with green. So we'll let this pink be a little cloud that lives right here, and it'll be our barrier. It's our protector. It keeps our color nice and pure and clean in between these two. And we'll just sort of let it blend down. And you can have happy little clouds that just float all around wherever you want them. Wherever you want them. You know, maybe there's even some over in here. I don't know, wherever you want them. Okay. And then back to our 2-inch brush. And then very gently we'll blend the base of the cloud with just the top corner of the brush. The top corner of the brush. There. And I beat it just to knock off the excess paint. And then very gently we can fluff that up and bring it all together. And that gives us a nice little barrier between these two colors. And you just blend that till you can't tell where one color stops and the next color starts. But isn't that a very nice little sky? And it's so easy to do. So very, very easy to do. All right. Okay, we'll wash the old 1-inch brush and have it all clean and ready. Actually, I just like to wash brushes. There. That's not as much fun as a 2-inch brush. Now, tell you what, let's use one of our round brushes. And let's start, we take some black, little dark sienna, a tiny little bit of Prussian blue. I don't want much Prussian blue in there. Maybe even a little Van Dyke. Little touch of crimson. So we have black, dark sienna, Van Dyke, little crimson, blue, all of our dark colors. Now then, maybe in our world there live some nice trees right in here. And this round brush, I have the big round brush, and all you have to do is just tap. Just tap. And we'll put in some very basic shapes. Now I normally start at the bottom and work upward, because that way the darkest part of your bushes and trees and stuff is down here in the deep shadow. And as you work upward, automatically it's going to get lighter and lighter in value. And that's what we're looking for. Because underneath here there'd be all kinds of shadows that would hide everything. Be little sneaky things that live way down in there. And as you run out of paint, you can put some very light ones. I'm barely touching here. That'll end up looking like they're far away, but very light. Just barely can see them. There. And darker ones in front of it. See how that makes another plane there? There we go. Something about like that. Whatever. Totally up to you. You make the decision. Then we take our script liner brush, use a little bit of black or brown, whatever you want. I'm going to use black today, I think. Make that paint thin like ink. And let's go up in here and put us in the indication here and there of a few little trunks and sticks and twigs and all these little things that make up the tree. Little skeleton of the tree. Got to have some bones in him. Don't want him to just fall over. There and there. And sometimes you just take the knife and just scrape through and allow some of the canvas to show. And it looks like little white sticks and twigs. And you have a lot of those in the woods too. They're not all dark. They're every shade there is. Dark, light, and everything in between. And that's the easy way to do that. Now then, in the last show I introduced you to a new brush. This little half-size round brush. So let's take it. We'll use a little bit of the yellow here, and let's get a little red. Let's make a nice orangey color. This is going to be a bright painting. Gorgeous winter scene. There. I like winter scenes. I grew up in Florida, and was about 20 years old before I ever saw snow. And I joined the military, and I think our dear uncle found out, Uncle Sam, found out that I had never seen snow. And so he sent me to Anchorage, Alaska in January. And that's how I got introduced to snow. Before that, I thought ice was something that just grew in the refrigerator. I didn't know it actually grew on the ground. Had quite an indoctrination. A little more of the red. Now you could use any color you want. I just want to make something that's very bright and cheerful today. It's a fantastic day here. And it's nice to do scenes that reflect the way you feel. There. But work in layers. Those layers will create the depth in your trees and bushes. There we go. A little more. I'm just loading a little color on here. Something about like that. That's probably about all we need right there. Now watch. Let me find another brush. That one looks clean. Let's take just plain titanium white. Load some color right on that 2-inch brush. There we are. I've loaded it pretty sharp. It's almost a chisel edge. Pretty sharp. Okay, let's go up in here. Have to make a major decision. Where does your snow live in this world? And I think, yep, you're right. There it is. Lives right there. All you have to do is just pull. Just pull it. And allow it to pick up a little bit of that color so it looks like shadows in there. A lot of times we avoid picking up that color, and that little bit of color that it picks up is really what makes it so pretty. There we go. And the more you blend it, the smoother it'll become. And you can blend this till it looks like silk. It's just really up to you. Sometimes you want snow that looks quite rough. Sometimes you want snow that looks like, oh, it's just smooth as it can be, smooth as silk. I'm add a little more color here and there. Back on this. This is the little half-size brush again. And yep, there's a little bush that lives right there. But see, you put a layer of snow in, then put a bush. And let me grab, just stay right there. See, now you grab the bottom of this and pull it out. And this is the way you create the illusion of distance. Now look at the layers. That's what makes all that work. You know, you can even put maybe there's even a little one over here. Who knows? We don't want that side left out. But you can just close that right in. Just that easy. There. Okay, now we have what looks like a big tree up here. So let's work on it. Take our dark sienna, black, little tiny bit of blue, not much blue, because we're using yellow there. We don't want much blue or everything will turn green. Now let's bring this, we have a shape here. Let's just bring it right on down. See how you can pull this tree right into the foreground? All you have to do is decide where it lives, and you can move it anywhere that you want it. Lives right there now. Because we said it does. And this is our world and we can do anything here. Now, our liner brush. Little touch of the black. And we'll give him a little arm in there, a little trunk. There. And just a few limbs. We're going to put some leaves on there, so you're probably not going to see most of them. But we know they're in there. Even if they all get covered up, we know they're in there. Just to give him a little center. Let's see, let's use a little cad yellow. Let's have a nice bright color on this tree. Let me grab a little touch of that, a little bright red, maybe even a little alizarin crimson in that one. Ooh, I like it. Like it. Now, push the brush so it gets a little ridge of paint right out on the edge. And let's go up in here, start right above your shadow color. And then let's begin just laying in the indication of all kinds of little highlights there. There. Winter scenes don't always just have to be blue and white and cold colors. You could make winter scenes that are very warm and very pleasant. There. And if you're interested in selling paintings, and of course none of us are interested in that, but if you're out making a happy buck with your paintings, these are the ones that will sell because they go very nicely with about any decor. and they really brighten up a room. And people like these. They really brighten it up. There we go. Okay, maybe don't kill all that dark. Maybe right in there, there's some little doers. Just vary your colors back and forth, whatever you think. We let that just disappear right back into there, because it'll be darker underneath that tree. There'll be a big shadow under that tree. Now, back to our brush that has the titanium white on it. And once again, allow it to pick up a little bit of that color, and it becomes your shadow. Pull it. There. That's all there is to it. And we can take a fan brush with some of those same colors on it and just push it upward. And here and there we'll make a little grassy area that comes out of there. Cleans up the edges and brings it all together. Just like that. And smooth it out. Now, let's get crazy. What the heck? Black, dark sienna, little Van Dyke, little crimson. It's already a little blue in there, so that's all we need. Load some color back into this old big round brush. Let's make a decision. In our world, there lives a big tree. And it goes, where does it go? Where does it go? Just let it go. What the heck? Oops. Sometimes these things get away from you. Maybe, okay. All right, maybe it goes all the way to the top. What the heck? We can do that if we want to. Big old tree lives right up here. And maybe right down in front of here. But see, each one of these will make a different plane in your painting, a different layer. And that really helps create that illusion of depth and distance. I know I say that over and over, but it's so important. Now, back to our liner brush. We'll pick up a little bit of that black. And with that, let's put a trunk in this tree. We don't want it left out. If you have trouble making the paint flow, all you need to do is add a little more of the paint thinner. And there's little limbs and sticks and twigs that are growing back in here. Maybe you can't see the entire thing, but they're there. We know they're there. See, there's one there. There we go. One that comes right off the contact paper. Any adhesive back paper will work for this. And you can create any shape that you want. It doesn't have to be ovals or squares or, just let your imagination go and make any old shape. One of the best ways I found to find different shapes, placemats have a variety of beautiful shapes that you can lay right on your adhesive back paper and make beautiful, beautiful shapes. I'm just loading this half-size brush back up again. And we'll go back up in here. Oh, there we go. There. So you can give it a little push sometime and just make them limbs look like you're hanging over. Just depends on the effect you're trying to get. Sometimes I hit straight. Sometimes I give it a little If you don't make that noise, it won't work. There we go. Just a little something. There we go. But think about some basic shapes and patterns in here. Don't just throw them on at random. Don't just throw them at random. There we go. There's another one. And we'll add a little more color. Ooh, that's nice. Each one of these would be a different limb on your tree. Different little projection. It just jumps right out at you. Once in a while you can add the least little touch of titanium white to your color. Just to sparkle someplace where you think the sunlight would really strike. But don't overdo or it'll lose its effectiveness. Will totally lose its effectiveness if you do too much. There. Little bush there. Maybe. There's one. All kinds of little doers that live in there. Wherever. Now some of these I want to leave almost black, almost dark, because it'll really enhance it. Now, back to our white, and let's just pull across. See, let's picking up that color once again. Don't fight that when it happens. Don't fight it. Let it work for you. There. Now then, anything that you don't like, you grab the bottom of it and just pull it down. It just becomes part of the reflection in the water. So you don't ever have to worry much about this, because all you do, just pull it down. I add a little bit more of the same color on the brush so we'd have a little more of a reflection. Like that. Now I'll show you a little trick. We put that on with a knife, or with a brush. Now take the knife, barely touching, and just let it bounce and graze. But don't cover up all of that you did with the brush. It makes just a wonderful and beautiful effect. And people will go crazy trying to figure out how you done it. And don't you tell them that's our secret. Shh. That's our secret. There we go. There. See, there's another little doer right there. Take a little bit of the liquid white. Come right back in here. And now we can just cut in a little water line or a little snow that's laying right along here. Something like that. Just something to cover up the bottom. And that brings it all together, smooths everything out. There. Okay, maybe in our world, maybe, yep, let's do this. Let's have that come right across here. Something like that. There. Now, back to our knife. Barely touch it. Let me get a little more paint on there. Just sort of let that just float across there, allowing that paint to break once again. Allow that paint to break. That's what makes it look good. Now, tell you what, let's do. Shoot, we're having so much fun, let's really get crazy. Maybe over here there's another one. Just put in a very basic little shape to start with a little shadow color in it. Something like so, a little shadow underneath, pull it across. And back to our titanium white. Now, very lightly, once again, just sort of let that float right along on there. Just let it float. Back to our liquid white. Now we can put a little water line in there. Like so. There. And then let's go back to our old fan brush. It has the colors on it. And we can put in little grassy areas and little things all over wherever we decide they should live. I think there should be one right there. It comes right out. There we go. And maybe, yep, you're right. There's another one right there. But this helps form all these little shapes. Maybe over on this side, there's, yeah, there he is. Comes right along in there. Something like that. We can take our knife, pop in all kinds of little sticks and twigs and little things that live down here. And all you're doing is just scraping through the paint and allowing a little bit of the canvas to show through. And we go back to our liner brush, get a little bit of the, use a little bit of the black still. Want this paint to be thin as ink, so it flows very nicely. And here and there, and there and here, we'll put a stick and a twig, all these little things that just living out here and having fun. There. And it's these little details that'll make your painting special. And don't be afraid to add these. Enjoy them. There. Maybe there's even, yep, you're right. One or two out here and one about here. Something like that. Sometimes it's fun. Tell you what, let's take a little of the yellow color, maybe a little white on it. I'll dip in here and get the least little touch of liquid white to thin it because we're getting quite a few layers of paint on there. So I have liquid white, a little yellow and white, something like so. Just quite a bit of paint. Maybe we'll put just a few little, oh, look at there. Just push it upward. Like a few little doers that live right out there on that little stick. Look like a little happy bush. I think now is the moment of truth. So tell you what, we'll bring the camera right up here. Let's take the contact paper off and see what we have. This is fun time. Isn't that something? This contact paper is one of the neatest things that we've ever come up with. And I think everybody likes that. It really works well. As I mentioned earlier, we're not interested in selling paintings, but if you should be out selling paintings, this is one that will really sell. These ones with the ovals and the different shapes and stuff like that. And I think this one's about done. So I'm going to take a little paint thinner, a little bit of red, and let's sign this one. We'll sign him right down here. I really hope you've enjoyed this little painting because it's an easy one that you can do. We're going to call that one finished. Enjoyed being with you today. And from all of us here, I'd like to wish you happy painting and God bless, my friend.